Welcome to CN Movies, the spookiest show on YouTube. I'm the filmmaker.
And I'm the film watcher.
I think we should just talk super serious this entire time.
You mean monotone?
Monotone, dangerous.
That's boring.
How many times have you seen this movie before?
Just once.
Oh, so this is only your second viewing?
Yeah.
Okay. The first category is the story.
So the story is set in, it looks like, late 1800s England or something. But it's about a young man, Victor, who's engaged to marry this girl, Victoria, whom he's never met. And
it's an arranged marriage.
Arranged marriage,
yes.
Obviously. He is the son of a rich fishmonger. But they don't have, obviously, they're not like royalty or anything. Mm-hmm. She's the daughter of a lord, but they're poor, so that's why they're getting married. Anyways, but on the night before the wedding, Victor is out in the woods trying to practice his vows because he's terrible and can't remember them.
Yeah, he tried doing it during their practice.
Yeah, he kept messing up, and the preacher kept yelling at him.
Yeah, so he went out in the woods to practice because he wants to be good on his wedding day.
But the preacher was Christopher Lee, and so it was very funny. Anyways.
Christopher Lee, meaning Count Dooku from Star Wars Episode 2.
Sure.
Yes.
Or Saruman from Lord of the Rings.
Whatever.
So he goes out in the woods, and he's practicing his... Thank you.
You're fine, go ahead.
He's practicing his vows, and he has the ring, and he's like, finally gets it right, and he puts it on a branch, or what he thinks is a branch, but it was actually this girl's skeleton hand.
The corpse bride,
reaching out of the
name.
ground. Yeah. And so she thinks they're married. So she takes him to the underworld, and it's like, hey guys, it's my husband.
Yep. And he's like,
He's freaking out. Obviously, he wants to get back to his girl. So that's kind of the gist of it.
That's the gist of the story. And then from then on out, he has a conundrum because he's supposed to marry a living bride. But then there's his corpse bride.
And he does, well, that's kind of getting into characters. But
no,
so what do you think about
that's the story.
Idea?
He runs into a conundrum.
That's
the rest of the movie is the conundrum of who does he marry? Does he marry the corpse bride? Does he marry the living bride?
Yeah.
And we're not going to tell you. I'm not going to show you. I think this is a movie you should find for yourself.
Yeah, you should.
Yeah, I'm not going to tell you. The story is unique and original. I honestly can't think of another movie, especially in our movie meant for kids.
Yeah, not for kids.
No. Well, we'll get there when we get there. Another movie aimed for kids, teenagers. I mean, really enjoyed by anyone of any age could watch this movie. It is more for younger, but as adults, we could have watched. I mean, because it's Tim Burton, and he transcends ages if he wants to. He transcends all that. It doesn't. He can aim for everybody if he wants to, and he does here. But it was a unique and original. And I'm not gonna do any spoilers in this movie. I don't want anybody to have the opportunity to have a spoiler. But I think it ended where it ended in the movie. Felt like there should have been like another 5 minutes of movie. No. But because it's Tim Burton, it just ends where it ends. There should have been another 5 minutes showing him and the bride that he chooses, whichever one that is, like getting married and I don't know, just something.
I disagree.
And because it would have given the happy ending, and I think I understand why they didn't. It was a plus and minus for me. It was kind of like, I want that, but did I really want that? I don't know. Like if I watch the movie again, maybe I'll appreciate the ending more.
I do. I think maybe I was like that too, because maybe the first time I was like that. I was like.
Or it was like I kind of wish.
But this time watching it, I liked the ending. I really did. Honestly, I guess I think there's a reason for it, and I guess I can't say. More than just that Tim Burton was trying not to be the cliche happy ending, I think.
Yeah.
Or, show everything or whatever. I think there was more to it. But, anyways.
I want to say this without actually saying this. But, okay, so he has the choice between the living and the corpse bride. I wish he picked the other bride at the end. I'm not going to say which one that is. But
I disagree.
You disagree. Yeah. The one that he picked was the right one in your opinion.
Yes.
The one that he picked was the wrong one in my opinion. I think he should pick the other one. You think he should. So we're on opposing sides. Right. The one he did pick is the one that Mary agrees with. So if you've seen the movie, you know what we're talking about. The one he did pick, she agrees with. I do not agree with the one he picked. I think he should have married the other one and taken the path to marry her. And you think the path he did take was the correct path. Without giving too much away, I don't have anything else to really say about the story. I did like seeing the living world and the underworld, but the underworld was kind of like a more fun version of the living world, but with dead people.
I was just about to ask. The underworld is always more colorful and more fun and exciting
than the living world, which was kind of
funny. And the living world is always gray. There's like no colors.
The people there are really jerks.
Yeah.
Yeah. But people get down in the underworld and they're all having fun.
Yeah.
Which is part of Christian traditional value when we get there.
Yeah.
But all right, so what do you have for the story?
I give it. Oh wait, I would do numbers.
Yeah, numbers.
Okay.
Numbers.
I gave it an 8, and I mainly just took off points because I'm not a big fan of like dead people or gross. Like there's a lot of gross things in it.
Yeah, I mean like.
I just
it's all
don't like
stop motion animation.
Well, we'll get to that later.
Well, no, it's not any category. Oh yeah,
I'm just saying
right.
that's the only reason I took off from story
Yeah.
because I like the story. I like the idea of the story. It was very original. I don't mind talking about like death and laughter and all that stuff. It's just the grossness freaked me out sometimes. So
for me, it was honestly, it was which bride he chose was my biggest negative. I gave it a 7 out of 10, and which bride he chose was my biggest negative. And the plus or minus the ending, I mean, could have gone either way. I understand. I understand. I get it. I understand. So I'm not anti the ending. I kind of wish there was like an alternate ending where you could go into the bonus features and watch an extra 5 minutes.
yeah.
But since it was stop motion animation, I understand why they didn't take the extra time to do that. It's not simple, so understandable. For me, 7 out of 10, and for you, 8 out of 10.
Yeah. So the next category is characters. And we already talked about Johnny Depp was the lead actor, and Helena Bonham Carter is the corpse bride. I liked the main characters. Out of the three, Victoria is the girl, and then Emily is the name of the corpse bride. Obviously, Emily was the one most focused on, and
She's the title character.
the most interesting, because it is about her.
I did. I liked both brides, but I liked her more, probably because we got more about her.
You learn more about her.
Yeah,
it went more into her feelings.
You really don't know much about the living bride.
It really doesn't show. I was going to talk about that.
She's just a pretty face who's nice.
Well, no.
Yeah.
She has hardly any screen time. Okay.
That's what I mean. She's just a pretty face who's nice. It's not her fault.
There's more.
She's not real, but it's not her fault.
It's my turn.
Okay.
Okay. Stop. I'm going to start with Victor because he's the one you meet first. So he is very quiet, I guess, and you could consider him not very exciting.
He's bland.
I was trying not to say that because that's what you had.
That's
in your
my
notes.
word. He's bland.
That's your words. You could say that, but
Victor's played by Johnny Depp, which is weird because Johnny Depp usually has energy, but here it didn't seem like he had a lot.
I don't think they wanted him to have energy.
It's almost like why did they pick Johnny Depp at that point? Maybe I don't know. Maybe it's just Tim Burton.
Can I finish my?
Sorry. Go on.
I liked the fact that he was having trouble picking though, because it did show depth. Like he actually cared about Emily. He was. At first he was totally freaked out, but then once he talked to her and he got to know her, he like felt bad for her, and so it showed like.
But he also liked her at the same time.
Yeah.
Which is the path he chose. The path he chose. Back to the story.
I'm just saying it showed more than just like a one-sided character. Like he wasn't just. Oh my gosh, I gotta get back to my.
Yeah, because if the corpse bride is like weird and gross and he didn't even like her, then
he showed kindness. He showed compassion. He showed. Because
then you would have been like, well, he obviously has to choose the living bride. Like it's not even a choice here. It's not even an option.
Well, I know it made the story more interesting.
Yeah,
but because he had an interesting character.
But if the story wasn't interesting, you wouldn't have cared. That's
Obviously.
the point. You get an interesting character in the boring story, and you're like, man, what a waste of this character. And the movie's not worth watching again. But the story's interesting.
But it was because of him that it.
I think he was kind of bland.
Anyways, and then as far as Victoria goes, they don't show her much. But the two things they showed about her that I really liked is when she finds out because Victor comes to her, like he tries to escape one night and like tells her, hey, I accidentally made this corpse, please help me. Yeah. And so she.
And she believed him, by the way.
Yeah,
without
she
even
believed
a second. Never even to really talk to this guy.
The corpse
she doesn't know whether
she saw the corpse.
Not yet.
Yes.
Oh.
That night. So obviously.
Later on.
So she's like, I've got to help him. Yeah, when they first meet, they both fall in love automatically, or they have the googly eyes or whatever, and you're like, okay. But
that's why I thought Corpse Bride's relationship was a bit more interesting because they had. Well, she. Okay, go ahead.
She runs away basically because her parents lock her in a room. She first goes to her parents. So like Victor's been captured, yada yada, and they don't believe her. They lock her in a room. So then she escapes and she runs to the church and she tries to tell the pastor. So I just
played
thought,
by Christopher Lee.
Yeah. So I just thought it was funny because she was very she didn't just sit in her room and say, "Oh, poor Victor," which they could have gone that route.
Aww.
And then I don't know if I can say this. Well, I can just say that she said there's the villain character. She was very, very snarky.
The villain character
to him
was very predictable and
I'm
underdeveloped.
not saying. I'm just saying she's very snarky.
So when Victor goes to the
yeah, I was
underworld,
talking about it, so
that's fine. But I was like, we paused there for a second to discuss something, and I just want to fill you in before she goes on that Victor goes to the underworld. They think he's dead and or gone. He's run off. Yeah. Something's happened, and so they don't really care though. Nobody really cares. Like all of the parents do not care except for his parents, kind of sorta. Well, yeah, they go out looking for him, but they're still jerks. So who really cares about them? So he's in the underworld. He's gone. They haven't seen him in a while. So they're like, this marriage clearly isn't happening. So they set up the villain basically to marry the living bride. I just call him living corpse bride. I think it's. But yes,
I just like the fact that even though in her mind now she thinks this is her life. She has to marry this horrible man. She's still like, she's very snarky with him. She's very defiant, not defiant in a bad way, but like he just. Not to ruin anything. Like, he says stuff to her, and she's automatically like, well, that's just the way it is. Da-da-da-da. You know? Like, even though she could have been depressed and miserable at this point, she was still showing life and, like, resistance. That's why I like her.
If you think about it, though, like,
Character.
she obviously doesn't want to marry him.
No.
And, it's weird, because, like, I don't know, all three of your main characters are in different conundrums about marriage, and there's only one guy and there's two girls. So, and it's not like kooky, like, one guy, two girls, this can be funny. No, nothing like that. I don't know, man. Like, without ruining anything, it's kind of hard, but I don't know. The villain character, all of the side characters were one note, one dimension.
All the side characters.
All one dimensional, and most notably the parents of Victor and of Victoria. I keep wanting to say Emily, but that's the corpse bride. Yeah. They were all one note, and it was just kind of... So, really, the only people you care about are Victor and Emily, and to a lesser extent, Victoria. Mm-hmm. That's it.
Yep. It's true.
All right. So, for a final score for characters, I give them a 4 out of 10.
I give them an 8.
That's fine. I just don't like... I think Victor was bland. My favorite character was really the corpse bride. She's
the best character.
And Victoria probably would have been a great character, too, had she got more screen time. The next category is music. They actually had singing in this movie, and upon my first viewing, I cannot sit here and say that any of the songs are memorable, but I'm bad at that. When it comes to the first time I've seen a movie with singing in it, I'm bad, because I saw Frozen for the first time, walked out of the theater, didn't think a single song from that movie was memorable, and wow, am I an idiot, because how did, like, Let It Go, you know, if you've seen Frozen, you know. There's at least 2 musical numbers in there that are very memorable, but I walked out of the theater, seeing it for the first time, and I was like, the music was kind of like whatever. So I'm an idiot sometimes, all right? And the music I said here is just above average, but I'm not knocking it too much for that. Above average being a good thing, because that means it's probably as memorable, and I just have bad taste when it comes to the first time.
That's possible.
When it comes to the first time viewing a movie, I sometimes have bad taste.
My turn.
Well, the best part was the piano bits.
Yes.
Which you agree with?
Yes.
Yeah, Victor, they did stop motion on a piano, okay? I don't know what else to say. That's impressive. Like, I don't know how much time that took, but it took a lot of time.
Mm-hmm. And it was accurate.
And like, she has a master's in this bad boy in piano. She knows.
I'm just saying that it bugs me so much in movies, and I know people aren't pianists and yada, 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 but they just, like, show notes being pressed down. And... yeah, it's not going to be completely accurate.
It's almost like don't show it if you're not going to do it right. Yeah, just like show it from behind the piano or something.
Yeah.
But here they actually show, and it's correct.
It's close to the actual music. You can't...
yeah, considering that they're not real people doing it.
It was very, very close, and it looked real for stop animation. I love that. I like the music in this one. My favorite 2 were the piano duet, like we talked about, and The Remains of the Dead. One thing I did... have kind of a problem with this one is it is a lot of chorus singing, so there's a lot of people singing. Anytime you have chorus singing, it is sometimes hard to hear the words, so you can't understand the words all the time, but for the most part they did a good job. I liked Remains of the Dead because they based that off of a really old Disney short or film. Was it The Music of the Skeletons?
I don't know.
It was, I don't remember what it was called, but it was basically skeletons playing this fun, like, jazz swing, and that's what they based this off of. So it's really like whimsical and fun, and I like that.
Sure, it wasn't Nightmare Before Christmas.
No, it's like a 1920s, 30s old Disney short.
Oh,
that is
never mind.
these,
I don't know.
These skeletons. Anyways, and that's what they based it off of. So I thought it was really good. I do also like Emily's song, which was Tears to Shed. And again, I don't know, just some of the words were hard to understand for me in that one, but maybe I'm losing my hearing. I don't know.
She is. She's getting pretty old. You're
but,
so beautiful, though.
Stop it.
You're just going to slap me?
Yeah.
Wow.
I just liked it because it was like the most in-depth look at your characters for that. None of the other characters got like a reflection song, I guess.
Reflection song.
Yeah. But I liked it. I thought it was good. Was it as good as like Mulan or, that's why I didn't give it such a high score.
It's true. It's fair to compare it to the other Disney musicals.
Because it's not as great as, or catchy, but they had depth. There was good music.
This isn't a Disney movie, by the way.
Oh, I know. I'm just saying.
I'm just clarifying for everybody else.
Okay.
We didn't mention it earlier. I don't know who exactly made this off the top of my head, but it wasn't Disney. Disney did Nightmare Before Christmas, but they didn't make Corpse Bride.
Let's look it up.
We'll look it up right now. We're going to find out. We just double-checked. Corpse Bride is made by Tim Burton Productions. So there you go. That answers that question. So what'd you give the music score?
I gave it a 7 out
I
of
gave
10.
it a 7 out of 10 as well.
Good.
Wow. I love you. The next category is animation. Fun fact before we talk about the animation. Majority of the animation was shot on a Canon DSLR of all things. And why not, If you think about it, the picture quality you can get on, like the camera I'm shooting on right now, the video quality only goes up to 4K. But my picture quality, if I were to take just still images, is like much higher. It's like more in the 6K range if you were to make it into a video. So I understand, like 2005, there's not like 4K video yet, unless you're shooting on film. But I think it probably was much cheaper for them to do it like that, take still images with the Canon. I can only imagine how much money they saved doing that instead of using real film.
Yeah.
Yeah. Could you even imagine using because real film you have to what are you recording like a second or two at a time? I don't know. I've never done stop animation, but I can just imagine doing stills way easier. Because then you could look at it immediately and be like, oh, this is how it looks. Delete, redo it. You know what I mean? So, I don't know. The animation was beautiful, though.
Yeah, it was really good.
Despite, the whole thing, for most of it, I looked up the IMDb on it, and most of it was shot on just a Canon DSLR. Some old Canon, too, at this point, by the way. It's like old, ancient technology. It's beautiful. The lighting, since it was real, was the big standout here. And I noticed that the lighting was, you could tell, it wasn't like CGI'd. I think a couple of things in this movie were CGI'd for obvious reasons.
There are a few things, but...
The butterflies, for the most part.
Butterflies
Butterflies on screen, yeah.
Yeah, but it fit. Like, it didn't look out of place.
It looks stop motion. But the rest of it, I think when we watch, there are stop motion movies that they do on a computer. I think we're going to be able to tell the difference between this and those movies. Because this is real stop motion, just like Nightmare is real stop motion with physical objects. And it was just fantastic. It looked great.
I think that is my favorite aspect of the movie is that you just have to know how much work and effort that took.
The colors here, too, are just so... The colors in stop motion really... If this was not stop motion, if this was Pixar CGI, or, you know what I mean? If this was CGI'd, or if this was hand-drawn, I don't think it would have the same effect as the stop motion. The stop motion is almost not, known as the go-to for horror. Frankenweenie, Coraline,
those are all
Nightmare...
Tim Burton, so...
Those aren't all Tim Burton. Nightmare Before Christmas, Coraline wasn't Tim Burton.
Not Coraline, sorry.
I think Paranorman, but I've never seen Paranorman. There's just... I don't know. Like Wallace and Gromit...
Yeah, that wasn't a horror, though.
Wallace and Gromit Search for the Were-Rabbit.
Yes,
haven't reviewed yet. Yes, that is stop motion. That's what I mean. It's kind of like almost known as the go-to for, and it makes sense. I think it fits. Everything seems off from what you're used to, and that's why. So the animation was just perfect. That's your score. So what was wrong with it?
I think mainly because it isn't as smooth.
Because it's stop motion.
As CGI.
It's
and
stop
also
motion.
because it's just
literally
gross.
called stop motion.
It's just gross.
Oh, well, the gross.
I can change my
What
score.
was gross? Yes.
The man who's split in half. The head waiter.
Oh, I never thought that was
who's
gross.
just a head being carried around by cockroaches.
Fair enough.
The worm that lives in Emily's head that pops out of her head.
Well, he doesn't live his head. He keeps going in there and she keeps pulling him out.
Yeah, that's gross.
Whatever with you. Animation 10 out of 10.
I give it a 9 out of 10. It was really
No,
good.
9 out of 10 is blasphemy. Last category is Christian nutritional value. Christian nutritional value is a little bit on the rough side. Victor having to stop. I worded this so weirdly when I wrote it down. I said Victor having to stop being such a wimp and grow up. He was such a wimp in the beginning, and he developed as a character, and he had to just like learn how to make decisions and stop being such a wuss all the time. And that's like people struggle with that. What?
Watch your language.
What did I say?
Stop being a wuss.
That's not language.
I'm just saying.
Wuss is not a language.
People
Wuss,
can
wuss,
say-
wuss, wuss,
Some people
wuss.
can say that language.
Victor was a wuss,
Stop it.
and now he's not a wuss. It's not language. The Christian nutritional value for this episode. Not even. We need to rate our own episodes now because of the word wuss. There was drunk skeletons. There's pretty much all of the imagery, really, outside of the real world. There's mild sexual innuendos, such as the one with the large breasts, and I believe down in the underworld there might have been, but I just remember that specifically.
Well, it's not a huge deal, but like Emily had a very low-cut wedding dress.
Yeah,
and a really high slit.
Emily wasn't. She was
a
dead.
corpse.
So, I mean,
I'm just saying.
It kind of goes more with the imagery of the
I'm
underworld.
sure Tim Burton thought she was hot because he's probably into all that. Anyways, I don't know.
You know, I can't judge the man. I don't know anything about him.
I should have said that.
Mild language. I didn't write. I should have wrote an example because I don't remember what the mild language was, but it was there, and I did notice it. And by mild, I don't mean anything. I do mean mild. I mean mild. It's language, but it's mild. So, you know, nothing out there. Nobody's dropped the F-bomb in this movie. Nothing like that. So it was mild.
Yeah.
It's just not a lot of Christian nutritional value.
Though I think I see things a lot differently.
You do. That's why you're here.
Yes, there is not a lot of Christian. It really bothers me when people try to say that, you know, death is just everyone partying or whatever afterwards, and it's really horrible to think of people who are dead just sitting there decomposing too. Like, what kid wants to be like,
this doesn't acknowledge a heaven or hell, by the way.
Right.
It's just like everyone is dead and goes to this I keep calling it underworld, but I don't even know if they called it an underworld.
And keeps decomposing.
Just keeps decomposing and chilling and hanging out.
It's gross.
Yeah.
So that's what bothered me the most, because there's obviously no heaven or hell. There's obviously the afterlife is just kind of whatever.
Life is meaningless. That's
Pretty
why
much.
It's all dull and gray.
Yeah, that's kind of the point, and that did bother me. I did give it more points because I like the fact of Victor's having to make. I like the fact that Victor had to show compassion and caring for someone he would never have thought to even have a friendship with.
That's
before.
true. That's very true.
And that was the positive for me. Was
with him and Emily. Yeah.
And it just showed, and even Emily has to learn, like, I mean, she just, we're married? Okay, we're married, you know, and she has to kind of learn to, she at one point is like, Victor, you can leave or you can stay. She gives him that choice, you know,
Yeah.
she has to
Do you
learn.
love me enough to let me go? Switchfoot song.
She has to learn it's not all about her as well.
Hello
and
Hurricane,
what she wants.
the album. I'm just making an obscure reference here.
So I did give it some points for that.
So what was your final Christian nutritional value?
I gave it a 5 out of 10.
I gave it a 3 out of 10. Originally it was a 2, but you brought up the Emily Victor thing, and you're correct. So I upped my score another point. For some reason I overlooked that. So my apologies. But yes, 3 out of 10 on my end. Our final score for Corpse Bride is a 68 out of 100, and we do recommend it for, once again, I think middle school and above. I think middle school, it's a safe. I mean, it's safe. It's a safe bet at middle school.
And it does open up the questions. If you do have young kids that can handle it,
yeah,
you know, it opens up the question of the afterlife. And
still,
you can introduce
older young kids. Like, I wouldn't be showing my second grader this movie. Yeah. We're talking like 10 and above at this point for this movie. As an adult, though, teenagers, I feel like we kind of like leave these people. Teenagers and adults, definitely. Like, not even questions. Check out Corpse Bride.
Especially
it's a perfect Halloween type movie.
It is a perfect Halloween
movie. It's a perfect Halloween movie, and you're not going to be having to... I mean, if you're not into the whole gore thing, which I'm not really into gore. The only horror movies I can even think off the top of my head that I like are Paranormal Activity, and those were like I like them, and it's not even for the right reasons. I like them because I think... I don't know. They're just so stupid. But... I don't know. I think they were unique in their own, but that's a different afternoon. My point is that I don't really care for horror in general. I can't think of any other franchise that I would even be interested in. I'm not even interested in that franchise anymore. So if you're looking for a good Halloween movie to watch, this is it. Check out Corpse Bride. I don't know if it's on Netflix or anything, but Find it somewhere. Use store.
Rent it at your nearest Blockbuster.
Yeah, rent it at your nearest Blockbuster.
That's probably not.
Man, if only Blockbuster
dentist's
really was
office.
still around. If anybody has Netflix DVDs, though, definitely. Stay tuned as next time we review Prince Caspian. Ooh, Chronicles of Narnia. Everyone's like, oh man, after all these dark, depressing movies, time to get back on the Christian train of Disney. I don't know. You know, there was a review earlier. We mentioned that we don't think Disney would ever make a Christian movie.
Yeah, we did say that.
And then we reviewed Narnia, which was a Disney movie. Now we're reviewing the second Narnia movie, which is a Disney movie. Though they didn't really want to be part of this one, but...
So we apologize.
We apologize if that threw anybody off. Disney did make the Chronicles of Narnia movie, the first two. So, anyways, next time, Prince Caspian. Woo! Stay tuned, subscribe, and bye.